Hey everyone, this is Jacob Argy, and today I want to talk about something we all think and know about, but we don't often talk about when it comes to grief. What happens after the funeral? The service is over, people have gone back to their lives, and for those who are grieving, life suddenly gets a whole lot quieter, sometimes too quiet. That's when the weight of loss can really sink in. It's strange, isn't it? Right before the funeral, there's this whirlwind of activity, planning, organizing, family and friends coming together. But once that all fades, you're left with this new reality and it can feel lonely, overwhelming, even confusing. This is the point where support from loved ones becomes more important than ever. The thing is, grief isn't something that just stops when the funeral ends. It's a journey, and it takes time. Sometimes a long time. And being there for someone after all the initial attention fades, that can make a world of difference. So how do we support someone who's grieving once the busyness of the funeral is behind them? And how do we take care of ourselves when we're the ones trying to help? Let's talk about that for a bit. Grief is a process. It's not a one-time event, and it's definitely not something that looks the same for everyone. Some people might feel okay after a few weeks, while others can struggle for months, or even years. And that's okay. There's no timeline for this. But I think understanding some of the phases people go through can help us be better at offering support. In the beginning, right after a loss, emotions are usually heightened. There's shock, sadness, and sometimes, if the person had been suffering, even relief. There's also a lot going on during this time. People are busy with funeral arrangements, family gatherings, and receiving support from the community. This is when people tend to feel the most surrounded by love and comfort, but that phase doesn't last forever. After the funeral, when everyone goes home and life starts to settle back into normal routines, well, at least for everyone else, that's often when the full weight of grief really hits. I've seen it time and time again. The quiet that follows can be almost deafening, and the loneliness can feel overwhelming. Routines feel empty, and reminders of the loved one are everywhere. This is such a crucial time to offer support, even if it feels like enough time has passed. Now, supporting someone who's grieving can feel tricky. A lot of people don't know what to say or do, and they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. But here's the thing, you don't have to have the perfect words. In fact, most of the time, just being present is enough. Letting them know you're thinking of them can make all the difference. A simple text or call, something as easy as, "Hey, thinking of you today. No need to respond, just wanted you to know I'm here," can remind someone that they're not alone. Another way to help is by offering practical support. Grief can make even the simplest tasks feel exhausting. Things like grocery shopping, cooking, or even getting the mail. Instead of saying, "Let me know if you need anything," try offering something specific. You could say, "I'm heading to the store later. Can I pick up anything for you?" Or, "I made extra dinner tonight. Can I drop some off for you?" Those little gestures can mean so much more than you might realize. And don't underestimate the power of just sitting with someone. You don't have to fill every silence with words. Sometimes, just being there, whether you're talking, watching TV, or even just sitting in the same room, can be incredibly comforting. People don't always need answers. Sometimes they just need someone to share the silence with. One thing I've learned is that grief doesn't really go away. It changes over time. But certain dates, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, can bring all those feelings right back to the surface. If you know someone who's grieving, marking those dates on your calendar and reaching out on those days can show them that you haven't forgotten. Even a simple message like, "Hey, I know today is your dad's birthday. I'm thinking of you," can mean the world. Now, if you're the one supporting someone through grief, I want to mention something important. Take care of yourself too. Being there for someone else can be emotionally draining, and it's okay to set boundaries. You don't have to be available 24/7. It's healthy to say, "I'm here for you, but I need a little time to recharge." Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to reach out for your own support. Whether it's a friend, a counselor, or a support group, having someone to share your own feelings with can make a big difference. And don't forget to do things that help you recharge, whether it's going for a walk, journaling, or spending time with people who lift you up. Sometimes, grief can feel so heavy that professional help might be needed. If you or someone you know is struggling to get through daily life, or if the sadness feels too overwhelming to handle, there's no shame in reaching out to a counselor or therapist. At the Dargy Family Funeral Homes, we can also help connect you with local grief support resources. No one has to go through this alone, and asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Grief doesn't end when the funeral does. In many ways, that's when it really begins. And being there for someone through that process, whether it's a friend, a family member, or even yourself, is one of the kindest things we can do. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to grieve. Just be patient, be kind, and don't be afraid to ask for support when you need it. If you ever feel like you need someone to talk to or need guidance on where to find support, know that we're here at the Dargy Family Funeral Homes. You don't have to go through this alone. Thanks for listening and take care of yourselves.